Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
How are you holding up anyway?
I'm holding. I was going on 2 minutes there without thinking about Angel.
Well, there you go.
But I'd be doing a lot better if you and Xander and I could do that sharing our misery thing tonight.
Great. I'll give Xander a call. What's his number? Oh, yeah. 1-800 I'm dating a skanky hoe.
Meow.
Really? Thanks. I've never gotten a meow before.
Welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, reviewing it, giving our reaction to it. We're your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about Season 2, Episode 15, Phases. Directed by Bruce Seth Green, written by Rob Days Hotel and Dean Batali. The original air date was January 27th, 1998, to an audience of 7.31 million people. A good 600,000 people drop off from the last episode, but,
Yeah, but that was like how many people came on for the last episode, too, almost. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a banging, plot twisty episode.
Yeah, when it first started, I was like, all right, this is this. And then it just really started ratcheting it up. I was like, okay, all right, this is not a filler episode at all. They're tying storylines in from past episodes.
They're calling back to way, way, way back.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know the show was going to do that this early.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to call back to this early stuff. It's soon.
Very interesting. And there's multiple callbacks to early episodes.
Yeah. And I mean, we're getting it because we're watching them weekly and then talking about them. So, but yeah.
Also, need to reiterate. I don't think we need to reiterate, but I want to.
Yeah.
This is our first time watching this show. We've never watched it before. We're going through it for the first time. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, we don't know what happens next episode. This is we know, only thing we know is where we're at.
Yeah. And what we've seen before.
Yeah.
So all right. Shall we get into it, Vance?
Let's do it.
All right, so we get the Giles intro again.
Yeah, we haven't had
missing.
Oh.
It's been missing for a while, but the Vampire Slayer, there's once in every generation. Which we found out. Actually, I don't know. There was a loophole, but the episode opens with one of these callbacks that we're talking about.
Yeah,
we get a shot of Oz looking at the trophy case, and he's looking at the trophy that was from season 1, where the mom wanted her daughter to be like a cheerleader, and then she turned into a trophy. And he's looking at it and he's like, something's not right about this trophy.
Yeah, he's like, the eyes, they just follow you around. And he's like, yeah, I kind of like it. And Willow's walking over. And I thought Willow would be like, oh, that's the witch thing. But then I was thought back on that episode. They don't know where she went.
Oh, right.
Because she was trying to zap the daughter into the statue and then somehow reflected magic with the sheet pan, and it sent her into it. So, and that was the creepy. I remember that ending. We were like, that is the creepiest visual of those fake eyes in that statue.
Yeah, it was very wild. And if those eyes are still the same,
it's the eyes in the statue. It's like those are weird human eyes.
Yeah, it was creepy as hell. And Oz is just looking at well, this thing's weird. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Oz has some very fun ways of speaking.
His mannerisms are so interesting. Because just knowing, I think my first real introduction to him was probably Can't Hardly Wait and the Austin Powers movies, you know? But he's completely got a different vibe here.
Yeah, I knew him from Austin Powers, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then Robot Chicken in it.
Yeah.
Everything else. But so Willow comes up to him to talk to him, and she says, hi. And then he stands up and he goes, oh, I wasn't going to say that. And I was like, that's just so delightful and weird.
That's so weird that I'm like, I don't know if I like this guy. Like, if I was her, I'm like, I don't think I need to date a guy that's
yeah. And it's just so weird, but it's quirky as hell.
Yeah.
But they're talking about how they went to a movie together and, they had fun and Oz is like, oh, movies these days are like popcorn. Like, they don't stick with you. You just like them. And he's like, but I like the popcorn. And Willow's like, okay. And it's kind of awkward between them two because they're both very awkward.
Yeah, he seems more awkward than he should be considering what we saw last episode. Where
he was like, I'm kind of just waiting. He had a good reason, and it was like, okay, Oz, but the relationship between them is just like stalling.
It's strained in a way where you would think that it's because of what happened later in the episode. Like, if he knew what happened later in the episode now, then it would make sense for him to act this way, but he doesn't, so it's strange to me.
Yeah, it's odd. So, at a certain point, Willow like walks away, and Larry, the bully, who I didn't realize he was going to be a recurring character.
Did not realize I had to like go back. I was like, is that the guy that we saw before? Is he the rapey pirate?
Yeah,
and
it is. Yeah. So Willow walks away, and she goes to like hang out with Buffy because she sees Buffy walking down the hall. And then Larry comes over to Oz, and he's like, ooh, boy, I'd love to get in on some of that Buffy and Willow action. How you do it, Oz? What's up with her? Is she putting out? She's sucking that thing? Like, what's up? And Oz is like, what are you talking about, dude?
It's the weirdest senior-junior thing, because he's like, oh, are you dating a junior as you're a senior? It's like, he better be putting out.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, you like him young, don't you?
Yeah.
And, I know in high school that's a thing where it's like, whoa, this is scandalous, senior dating a junior.
I thought senior dating like a freshman was like scandalous, maybe a sophomore, but a junior, that's like 1 year.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But Oz is like, no, she doesn't put out. Like, I respect her. He doesn't say that exactly, but he's like using his quirky, like.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the wording he uses, but it's interesting because it's almost like he's about to get bullied, but he's not. And he's smaller than every one of these stock characters that is friends with Larry.
With Larry.
Yeah.
Well,
the one I think has a football or something, and he's tossing it between his hands, like just generic high school stuff.
I also love that Larry comes over and he's like, I'd like to get in on some of that Buffy and Willow action. And Oz goes, I see you've mastered the single entendre. Yeah. I was like, dude, this is so bizarre. But I wrote down that quote because I was like, I might use that later.
No, this is a very strongly written episode. Like, they do all the witticisms. And then this girl, Teresa, who I didn't know we were going to need to know her name.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But she walks by, and Larry slaps the book out of her hand so she can bend over and pick it up. And he's like looking at her like, yeah, oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
He was like, oh, thank God for the Thigh Master or some shit.
Yeah. And I was like, you're not really seeing much in that dress that she's wearing.
Yeah, it's just she picks up the books and she like gives him a scowl and walks away. And it was just like, that was so weird.
Yeah.
But we should have known because they say her name specifically. They're like, oh, Teresa.
Yeah.
So we definitely did need to know her name.
Yeah, she comes back.
Yeah. So Willow's walking and talking with Buffy about Oz, and she's like kind of frustrated because Oz isn't making a move on her. And she's like, I'm ready for this, dude.
She's
like
hot and ready, man.
she was saying like, I know he said last time in the last episode that he wanted to wait until I'm ready, but I mean, I like this guy. I'm horny,
Yeah.
And Buffy's like,
she tries to say, I'm ready for smooches, But I think she's ready for more than smooches.
Oh, she's ready for it all, baby. And somehow they get to talking about, she's like, I don't want to be the only person in the school without a boyfriend. And then Buffy like looks down, defeated, and she's like, oh, whoops.
And I was like, wow, this whole school is coupled up. The whole school. The whole school's coupled up. I thought she was going to say, I want to be the last one to lose my virginity or something.
That's what I thought she was going to say.
Which they haven't used the word virginity, I don't think, in this show. And they probably wouldn't. They would just call it something else. Well,
didn't they out Xander as a virgin?
Oh, yeah. Well, you can do it with guys, but you can't.
Okay.
You won't do it with girls, probably.
Yeah. So Buffy looks,
you wouldn't have it be like a negative thing for a girl to be a virgin, but it's negative for a guy to be a virgin.
Yeah. So Buffy's looking defeated, and Willow's like, I'm sorry, I forgot that, Angel's a thing.
I forgot that major thing that affects our lives.
And Buffy's like, no, don't worry about it. I used a nice mental vacation from thinking about Angel. And then Willow's like, let's do that whole me, you, and Xander hang out and commiserate thing. Buffy's like, I'd like that.
Yeah, I'm like, we'll never see that scene.
No, absolutely not. And then Willow says something about like, it could be worse. You could be like Xander, a.k.a. 1-8. Oh, no, she goes, I'll call Xander. What's his number again? 1-800 I'm dating a skanky hoe. And Buffy goes, meow.
Yeah.
And Willow goes, ooh, I never got a meow before.
This is such an Allison Hannigan episode, especially later when she comes into Oz's house. It's like whole scene is like How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, yeah. But I was like, whoa, it's also wild to see like what was acceptable on TV back in the day. Because I feel like this wouldn't fly at all.
What would fly? Skanky hoe?
The 1-800 skanky hoe thing.
I think. I mean, I haven't seen Euphoria, but I'm sure it'll fly.
But that's on HBO. This was on, the WB.
I don't know.
Or CW, or both.
I've seen Family Guy, like.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, no, you can get away with that stuff.
All right, skanky hoe flies.
Yeah, skanky hoe really flies.
So after that, they cut to Xander and Cordelia. They're at make-out point.
Yeah, I wrote down make-out point. They don't call it that, but I wrote it.
No, they call it Lover's Lane in this episode, but they're in the car smooching hardcore.
Can I say the insanity of knowing that vampires exist and parking yourself out in the woods?
Yeah.
It's just insane to me.
Yes. Like they know. Like the other people, they don't know. But like they
should know, because vampires will probably just kill all of them every time someone goes to Lover's Point or Make-Out Point.
Well, it's also like they also know that Angel's got a vendetta against Buffy and he's trying to kill everyone closest to her.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do this?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
But they're out there. They're at Make-Out Point. They're smooching, and Xander is like, I don't know what Willow sees in that guy Oz. Like, he's such a weird guy. I don't get it. And then Willow or Cordelia is like, why are you talking about Willow right now? Like, we're at Make-Out Point. We're smooching. Anytime that you're not talking about Willow, you're talking about how awesome Buffy is. Like, why are you here? Do you even want to be here with me right now? And he's like, no, I want to be here, but Willow's being super weird. And I don't like this Oz guy. And Cordelia rolls her eyes and all this stuff. And then in the bushes, a werewolf lurks, and he's being a voyeur he's spying on. He's peeping Tomming on all the Lovers Lanes people.
It's like just like rubbing his hands, his paws together.
So then we get the intro song. We come back from the intro song. Xander and Cordelia are still making out. And then Xander pulls away and he's like, I heard something. There's something rustling going on. And Cordelia's like, what is up with you tonight? You want me to just take you home? And he's like, no. I still want to make out. I just thought I heurd something. So they go back to making out. And then they hear like a ripping noise, and he's like, okay, that time I definitely heard something. What's going on? And then a hairy claw punches through the ceiling of the car.
Yeah.
And they start screaming. Cordelia turns the car on and pops like a Yui. And the werewolf is like flying on top of this car. And then
the werewolf is so bad. I don't know what's worse. I think werewolves might be dumber than vampires in this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, eventually they get the werewolf off of the top of the car. Mm-hmm. But then we see the werewolf, and the werewolf costume is like straight out of Party City. Like, it's...
I kind of love it. It's like a person in the costume with the face thing with a little bit of articulation to it.
Yeah. I see, this is like back to season 1 type of shit. Like the cheesy, like campiness of the costume is so fun, and I enjoy it so much.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, I don't need this to be so detailed and like a high budget movie production. Like this little gray, hairy costume just works for me. Yeah.
I feel like they added the blinking in post. Like that's CGI blinking.
I don't know. I thought the mouth moved pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun though.
Yeah. I do have a question about this next scene where they're like kind of in the school parking lot and they're talking about with Buffy and Willow and Giles, and Giles just hanging out with these kids in the parking lot at school. And they're mentioning, oh, it was a werewolf. I can tell. And Xander's like, yeah, and describes the werewolf. No way he saw the werewolf.
Yeah, I mean, unless he's looking through the rear view or something.
In pitch black forest, it's no, like all he saw was a hand reach down. And then he was like, no, I could describe in full detail what this werewolf looked like. But that's a little nitpick.
Yeah.
But it's
well, the gang's like inspecting Cordelia's daddy's car, which she drove to school with the giant tear mark through the convertible top. Yeah. And Xander, like you said, he's like, no, I swear this is a werewolf. And Giles is oddly giddy about this. Yeah. He's like, this is so exciting. Werewolves. Like, I get to research werewolves.
It's like one of the classics. Like,
yeah.
Like,
and I was like, what's up with Giles today? Like, is he wasted?
I had a what's up with Giles this whole episode.
Same.
Yeah. Giles is on something.
Yeah, but he is like so pumped. He's like, yeah, I get to check out werewolves. This is great. And even Buffy is looking at him like, what? Yeah. Like, why are you so jazzed about this?
She says he needs a pet.
Yeah.
Which is a weird one.
Yeah.
I don't think him having a dog would change anything.
I don't either. So then the next scene is we get the gym teacher, and the gym teacher's talking, and she's like, I'm going to teach you guys some self-defense stuff. And like, I
love that she was like, because in that scene before, they talk about how like, okay, we don't have to worry about the werewolf. And it's like, oh no, there's 3 days of the phase of the full moon. You know, it's like before the full moon, and then after, I guess. So it's like a 3-day window where there'll be a werewolf. And I just thought it was really funny that the gym teacher's like, well, there's a full moon, so we know weird stuff happens. So we need to do self-defense training. I'm like, this gym teacher might be the smartest person.
Yeah, the gym teacher does kind of make a nod like, living here, like all kinds of crazy shit's been happening lately. So we got to teach you guys some karate. So then Oz is like petting Willow's hair, and like Xander's looking at him like, what is he doing?
Oh no, she has a tag that's poking up from her thing, from the back of her sweatshirt. Okay. So he tucks the tag back in. It took me, he was like, oh, tag. And I thought he was saying tag, like he tagged her, but he was tucking her tag that was sticking out down. Yeah,
and Xander's got such a problem. He's like, look at this guy. Yeah. Such a weirdo. And he's saying this to Cordelia, and Cordelia's like, why are you so obsessed with both of them? Like, what? You're obsessed with weirdos. He's like, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I thought the gym teacher was going to yell at him.
I thought the gym teacher was pretty cute.
I didn't really pay that much attention to her.
She's cutie. But then they're like, all right, we're going to split you up into groups. And then so Larry shows up, and he's like, he goes up to that girl, Teresa, that we saw earlier. And he's like, hey, Teresa. So it looks like we're going to be split up into groups. I'm probably going to be in your group and I might have to attack you. And then Buffy slides in and she's like, I'm also going to be in her group. So you're not going to be doing any attacking of her. And then Willow pulls Buffy aside and she's like, Buffy, you got to act like a normal, dainty girl. We're in front of everybody. And it's like, wasn't the cop just shooting at her like 3 episodes ago?
I swear, didn't you go to the Bronze and beat up vampires in front of everyone? Like,
yeah,
aren't you known as the person that is in trouble for fighting?
Yes.
Like there's no, oh, she's just a dainty blonde little like girl that can't do anything.
Yeah. And so Buffy's like, okay, fine. I'll be a weak, dainty girl. And then we get the scene where the teacher's talking about like how to flip somebody over your shoulder.
Before that, we have to go. We're skipping over something where he was bit on the arm.
Oh, right.
Larry's been bit on the arm by like some dog, and he has it like bandaged up. And he says this to Xander, and Oz is there too. And he's like, oh, and I got bit on my finger by my cousin. His adult teeth came in, and he really has a bite. You know, and I'm just thinking, hey, you guys were just, because they knew all about like werewolf lore and stuff. And I was like, aren't you guys assuming that this guy that was bit by a dog is the werewolf? You know, like I thought he would.
He said the dog bite, he had to have 39 stitches or something.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, you guys don't want to, like Xander didn't put it together there. And it's fine because of what later they set up. But it's so. And it's it's a mislead too. It's some stuff. But at that one point, you have to be like, hey, we just got finished talking about werewolf. This dude just got bit by a dog.
Pull Buffy aside right now and be like, yo, I don't know if it works the same as vampires, but this guy just got bit.
Yeah.
Then we get to the scene where the gym teacher's trying to teach the people how to like do like a hip toss them over the shoulder. And Larry is supposed to be attacking Buffy. And Buffy's doing the dainty girl thing. And she's like, ooh, I'm having such a hard time. And she looks over at Willow, and Willow kind of gives her a wink.
that Willow wink was so funny.
Yeah. And then Larry takes this opportunity to actually assault Buffy.
Yeah.
He just says something like, ooh, Buffy, all that squirming's really turning me on. Reaches his hand back, full like ass slap, and then kept his hand there grabbing her butt.
Yeah.
And then Buffy's like, word? She just tosses this guy.
Yeah. And that was a lot. There's a lot of sexism and Buffy has to deal with a lot in this one.
Oh yeah.
And
that was wild, dude.
Who paired those people up?
I know, right?
And it was like, and it wasn't like one at a time. It's like a line of people. So the teacher's leaving them alone. And she's just in a very vulnerable position with a very creepy guy.
Yeah. I wonder if Larry's known as like a creepy guy amongst the school community. Like he has to be.
100%.
But yeah, full smack and grab. Buffy flips him over. And then they're like, oh, okay, you can just do that too, I guess. So creepy. So then we go back to the library and the gang is talking. Giles is talking about like all of his findings during his research about werewolves. And he's like, there's 3 phases of the moon. So it's actually 3 nights. It's not just one night of the full moon. And he's like, people do really weird, crazy shit when the full moon happens. And then Xander says some kind of joke where he's like, yeah, but at least it's where we get moon pies from. And then Giles loses his shit laughing.
I was so confused. Like, because we've seen him be like, enough with the jokes.
Yeah.
And this moon pie joke might be the lamest one he's told in a while.
Yeah.
And
at this point, I was like, something's up with Giles.
Yeah. Giles is
this
like
isn't normal.
giddy. He's like moon pie. And it's a close-up of him doing this. And then you have like Buffy and Willow just like looking at him like, what?
Yeah. Like, why would that be the one that's...
And this is an episode after he just turned his back on Jenny Calendar and found out all of that stuff. And like, there's nothing good happening in Giles' life.
Giles is losing it, man.
Yeah.
He's definitely losing it.
He became cool Giles, so he just doesn't even care. He's like, Hellmouth, whatever.
Yeah. It's like, no, we're going to have a party.
We're going to have a party. We're going to laugh at jokes.
Yeah. I mean, it was so weird how hard he was laughing at that. I was like, this is not right.
It was uncomfortable. I've never felt that uncomfortable since like the early episodes of Giles when he seemed like a creepy person with Buffy before he said, hey, I'm a watcher. And he's just like, I know what you want.
So, yeah, Giles is just presenting his evidence and his findings about werewolves. And, you know, then they say something like, oh, so should we use silver bullets? And then Giles is like, well, we really shouldn't kill the werewolf because 28 days out of a month, it's a normal person. So we'd be effectively killing a human being if we killed this werewolf. And then so everyone's like, okay, so I guess we got to capture the werewolf alive. And he's like, all right, sure, let's do it. I guess we could put him in library prison.
Yeah, he's like reinforcing it. He's got a welding mask.
So then Giles is skulking around Makeout Point. He's like got a flashlight. He's walking around like flashlighting into cars.
Dude, it's no way you're at Makeout Point as a high schooler and there's a strange old man walking through with a flashlight and you're not freaked the fuck out.
Right? So he's looking around and then he meets up with Buffy and he's like, do you see any werewolves? And Buffy's like, no, but I saw this person making out with this person and that guy's dating this girl and she doesn't even know. And Giles is like, I meant about the werewolves. And she's like, oh, no, I haven't seen any werewolves. Yeah. So then they go off and explore some more and Buffy gets trapped in like a hanging net type thing. She sets off a trap. She starts screaming for Giles. A guy with a gun comes out and he's pointing it at Buffy and he's like, oh, I got you now. And then Giles comes over and he's like, what's going on here? And the guy points the gun at Giles and Giles is like, I'm just trying to get my friend out of there. Mm-hmm. So the dude, his name is Kane. He lets Buffy down and he's like, oh, hey there, guy. You like him young, huh? Get the fruit while it's freshest, huh? Yeah. And Giles skin crawls. Yeah. He's like, oh, dude, what?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we're just out here looking for werewolves. And then the guy's like, oh, you're looking for werewolves? I'm looking for werewolves. I'm a werewolf hunter. I kill all kinds of werewolves. How many have you guys caught? And then Buffy's like, I mean, as of today? And the guy's like, you're pathetic. If I catch this werewolf, it'll be a dozen. And he's got a werewolf necklace of their teeth. And he's like, I sell their pelts in Siberia or Singapore.
There's a lot of nonsense right here.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where Buffy feels like coy that she hasn't caught a werewolf, as if that's a thing. Mm-hmm. Like, you mean today? I'm like, I kill vampires and demons. Like, a werewolf is nothing. I'm about to fight a werewolf with my bare hands. Like,
it's like I just fucking shot a bazooka at the judge. Like,
I just
kill a werewolf,
an apocalyptic demon. Like,
I'll get a werewolf, my dude.
You don't have to kowtow to this dude being like, when did you kill a werewolf?
Yeah. He's really like emasculating them and also being creepy.
Oh, that get the fruit while it's fresh thing was rough. Like,
that was gross.
I thought this guy might have like some interesting character stuff, but no, he's just a
sexist creep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they could have played this character with a little bit more nuance of like, no, dude.
Like, you hunt werewolves, like, so you have like a jaded view. Like, the view could have been like, I don't care if it's a person in there or not. Because they have that. Like, he brushes by that to be like, girls can't kill werewolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if it was like his wife was killed by a werewolf, you're like, I don't give a fuck. Any of these werewolf motherfuckers can get it.
Yeah, I would say not even have it be wife, just like friends or the person he used to hunt
daughter.
with. I just think a friend that he used to hunt with got killed by one. So, like, he knows these things aren't people. He'll shoot them even when they are a person if he finds out who it is, you know?
Oh, you're the werewolf, huh?
Yeah.
It's like Oz just puts a gun right up to his forehead.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert.
Yeah, whatever. We're going to get to it. This show is from 1998. So, yeah, then after he's done being a sexist creep, he's like, well, I haven't seen any werewolves of you. And they're like, no. He's like, well, if they're not here at Lover's Lane, the werewolf must be going somewhere where the party's at. And then Buffy's like, I think I know where the party would be.
Well, she doesn't say that to him, but...
Yeah, she says it to Giles, and she's like, let's go, Giles.
I like how Giles is like, where are we going? It's like, dude, you're going to the one place you always go to. Like,
you're either going back to the library or the Bronze.
Yeah,
okay?
and the mall has been established, so that's also a place, but that's not horny enough.
Yeah. But before we get anywhere, we see Teresa walking alone at night, and she hears some rustling in the bushes behind her as she's walking home.
Mm-hmm.
And she turns around and she's looking over her shoulder. She starts walking a little quicker. And then the rustling of the bushes is getting a little louder. And so she starts picking up the pace and looking over her shoulder. And then she turns around and Angel is there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hey, are you all right? Is everything okay? And she's like, no, I just thought I heard somebody behind me in the bushes. And he's like, well, it's not safe for you to walk over. And he's twirling a flower.
He's getting away with this because he's handsome.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're running away from a weird sound and then you run into a person, that person is the problem.
Oh, yeah.
Like, running into anyone is a thing. Like, you're not immediately thinking, oh, there's a werewolf behind me in the bushes. You're thinking, oh, that's just some rapist. That's just some rapey pirate guy, or there's just someone trying to rob me. And then you run into this guy that's out in the middle of nowhere.
Wearing all black.
Has
a creepy flower twirling.
Yeah. But he's handsome. If he had a scar on his face, she'd be like, I gotta run away.
Yeah. But he's like, hey, I feel like I've seen you before. You know Buffy, don't you? And she's like, yeah. How do you know Buffy? He's like, I know Buffy really well. He's like, you know what? It's not safe for you to walk home alone at night. Let me get you home. And she's like, all right, thank you. And he has like the most evil, shit-eating grin. And I was like, oh man, what? That was a good twist too. Like, you don't expect Angel to pop up.
I didn't expect Angel to be in this episode at all. And I liked that once he said, oh, you're Buffy's friend. And I was like, oh, she's done.
Yep.
She's done.
I mean, as soon as I saw Angel, I was like, she's done.
Yeah. But then it's just like, how done is she? Like, what is he going to do?
Yeah. So that was a fun little thing.
Yeah.
So then we go to the Bronze, actually. And Cordelia's, you don't see who she's talking to at first.
Mm-hmm.
But she's talking to someone about, like, I don't get Xander. All he does is talk about Willow and Buffy and how great Willow is and how much he likes Willow and how awesome Buffy is. And, you know, it's just like, does he even want to be there with me? And then slow pan out to reveal that she's talking to Willow. And Cordelia's like, sometimes it's like I'm not even there with him. And Willow's like, I know that game.
It's great. I always love that gag. Yeah.
It's fantastic. And then so she keeps on ranting, and then Willow starts to commiserate with Cordelia about how weird Oz is being and like how weird men are. Men are so weird. And what do they want? They want you until they have you, and then they don't want you anymore. And they're just yammering on about it.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, the werewolf appears. Just like comes and jumps and breaks the table that they're like having their coffee on.
They basically are sitting in front of a coffee table. The Bronze has such an interesting setup.
Yeah.
So it drops down from, I guess it was hanging on the rafters, and drops down into the middle. Like, I have no idea how it can drop directly into the middle of this place. Anyway, probably went through that broken window they never fixed. So it drops down in front of them, and then it just screams at them. Everyone starts running away.
Yes.
The werewolf gets no one. It doesn't scratch anyone. It doesn't bite anyone. It's a room full of people. They all get out.
Yep.
A fire is more effective at getting people than this. You know, like you're in the middle. You can't swipe at anybody. There's no one getting hit.
Yeah.
So they're all leaving, right? Mm-hmm. And then Buffy and Giles show up, right? As Willow comes out, and Willow's like, "Hey, it's inside, right?"
Yeah.
Then Buffy runs inside while everyone's running out. And she goes inside, and some dude closes the door behind her.
Yeah, he like locks her
and
in
locks
the bronze.
her in the bronze with the werewolf.
Yeah.
Unless you know that's the Slayer, you just locked a girl in a room with a crazy beast.
Yeah.
And also, everyone saw this thing.
Yep, that's what I was just about to say.
So everyone saw a werewolf. Not like, oh, that was a wild dog or a bear. Some giant creature landed into this place.
Yeah, and it's like everyone's screaming. So it's not like, it's not, they can't explain this one away with like, oh, it was a gas leak, everybody.
Yeah.
Like everyone saw it. They're all running. And Giles and Buffy are like just casually pulling up. And they're like, well, I think your hunch was right, Buffy.
And then she runs in and the dude just closes her in. And
That's
I was just
so
like,
insane.
I was like, dude, what are you doing? He didn't try to stop her. He's just like, all right, it's your problem now.
Yep. So she goes in there and she tries to capture it. She's walking around and she doesn't see it at first. And then she goes on the stage and it pops out from behind the curtain. And somehow, I don't know where she picked this up. She has a chain that she starts swinging above her head. And then she like wraps it around the werewolf's neck. And she's like, I'm going to capture the werewolf with this chain. And then the werewolf just like stands up straight and it throws Buffy like across the stage. And then the werewolf escapes.
Yeah, it jumps out the window. Another window broken at the bronze.
Dude, their window budget has to be.
Why does the cover charge keep going up? Because shit keeps getting broken. It's $50 to get in tonight. Like, where did she get the chain? I did not realize at the end she's like, oh, I had the chain and I was about to tie him up. Right. But I thought she was just trying to hit it with the chain.
That's what I thought.
Because she just starts whacking it. I didn't know she was like going to chain it up. But yeah.
So then we see the aftermath of this. Kane shows up and he's like, I knew a chick couldn't kill a werewolf. You don't got it and you're stupid. No wonder everybody's dying in this town if you're trying to save all these people. And then Giles is like, hey, man, back off. And she's like, well, I'm sorry. I was trying to capture the werewolf because it's a human and I want to save it. They're talking about this at this volume. And there are at least 3 bronze employees in the background sweeping up all of this like glass. So there's no hiding this anymore.
No. A dude walked in with werewolf teeth around his... Like, I don't understand why they have access to the crime scene. Why a librarian, a high schooler, and some random guy with a gun. He has a gun.
Exactly. He's got a fucking huge rifle.
Why he has full access to the bronze.
They just walk in. This guy's like Crocodile Dundee. He's got a huge ass rifle.
He's like the hunter in Jumanji, just like walked into the room.
It was, and they're talking about this at full volume, and everyone in the background, nobody's like, they're just like really paying attention to their busy work.
Yeah.
Like, and then the guy said something about like, oh, I should have went back to hunting ivory and elephant tusks or something.
The bleeding hearts now want to say werewolves. I can't hunt elephants for their ivory anymore. You know, just doubling, like tripling down on how bad this guy is.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just in there, full rifle.
That's what I wrote that down. I was like, nobody's saying shit to this guy. He's got a big ass gun.
There's no cops. No police showed up. No fire department. It's just Buffy, Giles, and this hunter to investigate what happened.
Unbelievable.
I love this world of Sunnydale.
Oh, so do I. It's unbelievable.
Because they also have a full police station that we've seen.
Yeah.
Just bustling with police and detectives.
So after this, we cut to what I believe is probably just outside the Bronx. Like, it looks like the same alley. It can't be, but it looks like it. And out of the shadows emerges the werewolf. And the werewolf's walking, and then he looks down at the ground and he sees blood drops. Mm-hmm. And he's like, ooh, blood drops. Let's go investigate this. Takes a couple steps, sees Teresa, the girl that we've been following this whole episode. Mm-hmm. And she's passed out on the ground. And he's like, ooh, this looks like dinner. Mm-hmm. And he's growling. And then he looks up because he hears other growling. And it's Angel standing right there. And Angel's looking at him with his full vampire face on. And it's like a standoff. Mm-hmm. And then Angel just kind of gives him like a nod of acknowledgement and then backs away.
Well, it's the Twilight world of, lichens and vampires. What's the other underworld? Is that vampires and
I think that's
too?
underworld.
Yeah. So there's that, and you got Twilight. Vampires and werewolves don't get along. That's their problem.
But like, why would Angel give up his feast?
I think it was done.
You think it was done?
Oh yeah, he dropped her down.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought the werewolf was gonna finish eating her though.
That's what I thought.
Like, I don't understand what this werewolf does.
Is it a vampire werewolf? Like, does he only feast on blood?
Later, there's a trap set that's just like raw meat.
I don't understand then.
Yeah.
That's a perfectly good dead person to eat.
Maybe she was drained.
Pretty fresh.
Maybe she was drained of too much blood.
Do you think? Oh, never mind. That was about to be real stupid.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
It won't be the last.
I feel like I need to say it now.
Everyone wants it.
I was going to say, do you think if the werewolf ate Teresa?
No.
And she became a vampire inside of the werewolf and just burst out?
Oh, that actually... If she's the first vampire werewolf hybrid?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's not that dumb.
Okay.
That's a season. That's a season 5 thing, though. That's a season 5 thing.
No, Vance, I don't think you heard what I said. I said
I know what you said. I took it to a logical.
You took it to a better place. She exploded out of the werewolf's stomach in my world.
So she's a vampire he eats fully whole.
Yes.
He swallows her whole.
Yeah.
And then she pops out of the chest like an alien.
Well, this is why I thought it was dumb, is because I was like, well, we couldn't eat her fully whole.
That's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Vampire werewolf hybrid.
Yeah. We'll see that at some point, hopefully. So then we get to Giles is asleep in his car at makeout point, and Buffy's like, hey, Giles, do you see anything? And he wakes up and he's like, no, I didn't see anything. No. She's like, well, it's hard to see anything when you're looking at the inside of your eyelids.
It'd be great if he was making out with some random girl.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, that hunter had a really good point about the freshest fruit.
Yeah. But then Buffy gets in the car and they hear about Teresa's murder on the radio.
Yeah.
Oh, the radio.
Which we haven't done in this show that much. They haven't done that. I mean, they do some convenient stuff. There's a convenient thing coming. Yeah, but they kind of like have to look at it. It's not like, I mean, sometimes they stumble across newspaper, but the radio they haven't really done. Where like you just get random information just told to you.
So then...
And do you remember what the radio report says?
It says that there's a murder of a teenager girl, Sunnydale high school student, Teresa Wolf-Heiser, or whatever her name is.
And didn't they say like it was consistent with the other murders or the maulings that have happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe.
They said something that implied that, the werewolf got it.
Yeah.
Which later makes no sense at all.
Exactly. So then we cut to, well, Giles says like, all right, well, we better go home because it's almost light out. It's not going to be a werewolf anymore. So we might as well just go home.
How does Buffy function?
Right?
No
How does
sleep.
any of them function?
Yeah.
This is before Red Bull.
Well, they have been drinking coffee at the Bronze every night.
That's true.
They're just hopped up on caffeine.
Okay, fair point. So then we cut to the werewolf. And the werewolf is laying down in the grass and it's, freaking out and having a bunch of spasms because it's turning back into a regular human. And then turns back into a regular human, and the werewolf is Oz, as previously mentioned.
Yes. Which was huge.
Yeah.
Did you see that coming?
I thought that he was going to be a lizard.
I know. I was going to say, you predicted that he was a lizard boy or reptile boy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's stupid. He's not reptile boy. So you're kind of half right. He is something.
He's something.
So you can take a half lap of celebration.
I'll take a quarter point of celebration.
I was going to give you a half. I mean, I thought he was I thought he was going to be a human at least for a while.
That's very generous of you to give me half.
Yeah.
I'll take 25%.
All right, 25% because he didn't start out as a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so Oz is the werewolf, and he wakes up and he's like, huh.
His reaction to waking up as a werewolf is the same as when he got shot.
Yeah. He just wakes up naked in a forest, and his brain is, huh. Okay. So then Oz is at home.
This might be my favorite scene.
He's on the phone with his aunt, and he's like, "Hey, Aunt Jody, or hey, Aunt, I have a question for you. Is Jody a werewolf?" And he's like, "Okay, but how long has that been going on?" He's like, "All right, okay, tell hi to Uncle Tony for me." And he hangs up.
It is the best one-sided conversation I've ever heard. Just like, is he a werewolf? And then you just picture the aunt saying, yeah.
Yeah, it's been, how long has that been going on? For a while now. Okay, tell him I said hi.
Like, it is insane. That actually worked.
Yeah.
Because then it calls back to him being bit on the finger, and that changed him. And he doesn't even ask, are the rest of you werewolves or what? He's just like, okay, that's fine. Moving on. I do love that this happens this way, but I realize that we don't have enough characters who freak out realistically when they find out bad news.
Yeah.
Like, Jenny Callender's like, yeah, I'm a Wiccan, a techno-pagan, whatever. It's fine. Mm-hmm. I know this. He's like, vampires are around. They tell Oz vampires are around. He's like, sure, I get it. Like,
that makes a lot of sense.
Cordelia even freaks out a little bit. She's like, there's weird stuff that happens. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, no one seems to care at all.
Well, it's like no one's surprised at all.
No one's surprised, and no one reacts like a real person would react to the existence of something.
Well, based off of all of the reactions that Buffy and Giles and all of them have seen.
Yeah.
Like Xander and Willow didn't even freak out when they found out.
No.
What is the harm in telling everyone then? Or Buffy telling her mom?
Yeah, like we might get to this later in the series, but I do want to know what the freak out would be.
Yeah.
Because everyone seems to be like, hey, there's vampires around. Okay, I'm just all going to go out and make out point. People are going to go to the Bronze. They would probably go back to the Bronze that night.
I mean, the people that were just going back one episode. Going back to
she shot a bazooka in the mall.
She shot a bazooka in the mall. A bunch of people had to have seen the judge because they're all running around at that point. What's the harm at this point? Like, so much shit has happened. What's the at least 30% of this city has seen some shit. Like, everyone at the Bronze saw the werewolf. Everyone at the mall saw the judge. Do they have a Men in Black eraser memory thing?
The people who found Teresa saw her neck.
Yeah.
So much so they just put a bandana over it. Like, it was so, we'll get to it, but it's so dumb. If you're a mortician, you're like, no, that's not how we do that.
Yeah. So Oz has like a quiet moment of like accepting and panicking that he's a werewolf, and then he shows up at the library just in time for Buffy to loudly say, you know what, fuck it, next time I see that werewolf, I'm killing it. And Oz is like, oh.
The way he walks in there too, he has an interesting walk.
Well, he looked like he was walking in to be like, hey guys, I got some information, I'm the werewolf.
Yeah.
But then Buffy's like, I'll kill that motherfucking werewolf next time I see it. And then it's like, ooh, change of strategy.
Backing away.
Yeah. He's like, guys, maybe actually the werewolf's pretty cool.
Yeah, werewolves are... We don't know. Because he's like, it's still a person in there. He's like, I don't care what it is.
Weren't you just making out with a vampire like
some
week
mean
ago?
Sexist made me feel bad. I'm going to take it out on this wolf. Well, actually, she's just mad because it killed Teresa. It
killed Teresa,
and the guy was like, anything it kills is on you now because you didn't beat it enough with the chain.
Yeah. So Buffy's feeling some guilt about Teresa's death, and that's what kind of makes it all happen.
Yeah.
So then Xander is like, you know what? I actually can probably figure out who the werewolf is because I have a strong connection to it. And Oz is looking at him like, uh-oh. And then Willow goes, why is that? Is it because you got turned into a hyena once? And Xander goes, bingo.
At that point, Oz has to... If Oz wasn't a werewolf at this point, he has to be like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, but he's already a werewolf, so like he doesn't even have to ask that question. He's just like...
he doesn't question it. He doesn't question anything anymore.
He's like, that's fine. Yeah, sure, you were a hyena.
He saw a lady shoot a bazooka at a apocalyptic demon. Of course, Xander turned into a hyena.
I love they call this back. I love they call this back.
Well, they called this back quite a lot. Like Xander's follies. Like they called him. Yeah. But Xander's like, oh yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday. All the bloodlust and all the crazy feelings I had. And then Buffy goes, you said you didn't remember any of that. Because if you don't remember from this episode, Xander like tried to rape Buffy in the episode.
Yeah.
And then Xander like comes out of his like little rant and he goes, I don't remember any of that. And then just moves on. Nobody questions.
Buffy's looking at him like, so you remember eating that pig and...
oh, yeah. Well, it's also like, as soon as Buffy goes, you said you didn't remember any of that. It cuts to Xander. It's like a wide with Xander and Oz. And in the background is Giles. And Giles was turned away from the camera. Yeah. And as soon as Buffy says that, he turns around because Giles knows that Xander remembers it. And he turns around and he's like, oh, shit.
It is so funny that he accidentally outed himself for remembering that.
Yeah. So of course he would because he wants to be like a hero and I'm the cool guy. I'll figure this out.
So Xander remembers being a hyena and a military guy. Like he's got a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, dude, his psyche is fucked.
But, yeah, he's not going to be stable.
No. No, I mean, like Willow was like, "You got emotional problems." Like, of course I do. I was a hyena. I was a military guy. Like, vampires are real. Like, who wouldn't have emotional issues at this point?
I killed my mummy girlfriend.
Oh yeah. He almost got killed by the praying mantis woman. He almost lost his virginity to her or whatever.
I was going to save this for the end, but since we have it here, we have Willow with the werewolf, Buffy with the vampire, Giles with the witch, right? And a
gypsy witch,
right? And then we got Xander with an insect woman and a mummy woman.
Yep.
Like it is.
And now a 1-800 skanky hoe.
Yeah. What is Cordelia going to turn into? She's probably going to turn into a vampire. Yeah, that she has to turn into a vampire, right?
She has. Something's got to happen.
That's how she has to get to Angel.
Yeah. But all of this build up with Xander is to like give the misdirect. He's like, I know who the werewolf is. And he looks at Oz, and Oz is like, oh shit, he's shitting his pants. And then he's like, it's gotta be Larry. Larry's always a predator. He's always harassing girls. He was harassing Teresa before. And he got bit by the dog, which great logic.
Yeah. Surprised it took this long for that to hit, but sure. Yeah.
Great logic by Xander. And so Xander's like, I'm going to go confront him. I'm like, dude, you're not a match for him in normal life.
No, but he's military guy.
Oh, right. He is military. I love that you've adopted military guy.
I was waiting for him to use his military guy fighting style when he met up with him. Because he now knows he knows all the training. I do love that Oz, when you had the misdirect that you think he's going to say Oz, but he says Larry. Then you cut to that shot of a relieved Oz, and he's like, Yeah. And it's always so funny because if you think about the person looking at someone do that, like, it's for us, but like they are doing that in front of the person who said it. That person has to be like, huh.
Why did you just exhale so heavily?
Yeah, why did you just sigh a sigh of relief that it wasn't you?
So Xander's like, all right, I'm going to go confront Larry. I know exactly where he is. So he leaves. Mm-hmm. And then Oz is with Willow, and he's like, man, this is all just so much to take in. And Willow's like, you know what? This shit happens here in Sunnydale. Like, this is what happens when you're living on a hellmouth. But the best we can do, we can help. We can try and figure it out together. So if you want to stay here with me and like research tonight, all night long, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then Oz is like, all night long? I forgot. I can't. I have a thing. I gotta go. Bye.
And the thing here is that she was like, oh, you were close to Teresa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so he freaks out and leaves. And Willow's like, oh, he doesn't like me. But I'm like, hey, he just found out a classmate that he knew just died. Like,
yeah.
Give him a little bit of, like, I know you guys deal with this every day, but like,
yeah, this is old hat for you, but Oz is still like kind of getting acclimated to this.
They're just
world.
like, classmate died, school is still open. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
But Buffy overhears all this, and she's seeing it, and she feels bad for Willow because Willow's feeling like Oz doesn't want to be a part of or do the smoochies.
Yeah. Do the smoochies.
So now Larry's in the locker room, and Xander goes up and he confronts him. He's like, Larry, I know what you are. I know what you've been doing every night. And let me tell you, man, we can help you. And Larry's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Harris? I'll beat the shit out of you. And Xander's like, no, you won't, dude. I know. I just want to help. I know because I've been there before. I understand what you're going through. All right. So just confide in me. Like, we can figure this out together. And then Larry lets him go. And he's like, you know, it's crazy that you figured this out. And it makes me feel a lot better knowing that someone out there is dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with. And Xander's like, yeah, man, I got your back. And then Larry's like, I'm gay. And it's taken me a long time to come to terms with it, but I'm gay. And he said something like, I won't be able to be on the football team anymore. I'll get run out of this town.
My reputation will be ruined here. Like all that stuff beforehand.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, well, guess what? I'm gay. And it's like, how homophobic is this whole town, dude? Like, god damn.
I mean, it's Sunnydale.
That's true. But then he's like, you know what, Xander? I should have known. Every time I bullied you, I should have known that you had been going through this exact same thing. And Xander's like, oh, not that thing. And he's like, no. Shh.
I wish you would have mushed his fingers on his lips.
Yeah.
I would love that.
He was like, I get why I was bullying you now, because every time I saw you, I saw something that I hated within myself in you. And so thanks, Xander. Like, I feel a lot better about my life now, and I really appreciate it. And then he like walks away, and Xander's like, huh. Okay.
This was a great little twist. I mean, he definitely drew it out, and you're like, okay, I kind of get where it's going, but it's still interesting and fun.
I knew where it was going when Xander was like being as vague as possible.
Yeah, when they were playing the not the pronoun game, but similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah, just the vagary of everything.
Here's two things. One, what was he doing at night?
That's what I'm saying.
He's like, I know what you've been doing at night.
And how would he know?
Is he hooking up with guys? Is he going to gay establishments? If they have gay establishments, why does he think he's going to get kicked out of town if the town actually has those set up? It's a 1 Starbucks, 1 Bronze, 1 gay bar town.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I don't know what the night thing is.
It's also like, this is Southern California.
California, once you start leaving the major cities, gets
you know what? You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a big state.
You take a drive an hour outside of LA.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna call out any towns by name, but so
an hour north, an hour south, hour east.
Yeah. Another thing is that we have to apologize for thinking that he was a rapey pirate without the costume.
Yeah.
He actually would not have wanted to be a rapey pirate.
Yeah.
It was the costume that changed him. That ruins our fun running gag.
Yeah, well,
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with getting one rapey pirate off the street. It's just replaced with a rapey hunter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then we go to Willow and Buffy bonding over about how Oz is being weird. And then Xander shows up. There's some kind of weird moment where it's like, I just miss the days when you could tell if a boy liked you because he punched you in the arm and then ran away. And then Xander shows up and he punches Buffy in the arm. And I was like,
I didn't know it. I didn't catch that, but that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So then Willow walks away, and then Buffy's like, so did you figure out if Larry's the werewolf? And Xander's like, no, he's definitely not. We don't need to worry about Larry at all. He's not the werewolf. Don't ask me any other questions about this. And she's like, okay, man, that's okay.
She's like, all right, that means we got to figure out who it is then.
Yep. So then they go to the funeral home where there is a wake for Teresa.
Yeah, for some reason they're talking, right? And then Buffy goes, wait a minute, that radio report said something, but it didn't say something. Like, she somehow has a Deus Machina moment where she thinks of something for no reason. Like, there's nothing that would have caused her to think this. Yeah. That was my one, like, stretch in this episode.
So then they go to the funeral home where there's a wake that no one's at.
But people have signed, and she has a lot of friends, apparently.
She's got a lot of friends.
And guess who weren't friends with her? Buffy and Xander. Because they could have just gone down to pay their respects. But no.
Nope.
They had to have an epiphany moment.
They didn't. They had to go down and desecrate a...
Yeah.
So they go up. It's an open casket for Teresa. She's got a bandana tied around her neck, and Buffy just yanks it down. She's like, yup, should have known, vampires.
And I mean, it's not just like 2 little pokes in the neck. It is like vicious. Like it's
a full-on bite.
It's like 2 bite marks, but then like flesh is like ripped. Like, and I'm like, okay, so they think a dog did that?
Well, also, how soon do they have a wake?
I mean, she's already like, yeah, like that was the night before.
Yeah.
The next day, she's already like done up and in the thing already now. I mean, if you're a young listener and you haven't had to deal with funeral stuff, like good on you. It's a couple of days. It's a couple of days. Like,
also, I feel like there's like either they would have a closed casket or they would have a makeup person cover that up. They wouldn't just here's a bandana, that's fine.
I mean, they're just so busy. They're just so busy in Sunnydale. They're like, all right, just put a hat on them.
I don't know. Tape a piece of cardboard over it. I don't know.
Everybody's being buried in turtlenecks.
Oh, I love it. So then Buffy's like, oh, I feel bad. Like I should have. Here I was worried about werewolves. I should have been protecting everyone from the vampires. And Xander's like, oh, dude, don't worry about it. Like you can't put all of this on yourself. Like there's a lot of shit going on. Like you can't handle all of it. Mm-hmm. And then at this time, Xander's like, and you need to worry about vampires specifically right now because Teresa has turned into a vampire. And it cuts back to Teresa who's sat up out of her casket, which is exactly why you needed to have this open casket thing.
Yeah.
She sits up full vampire face, gets up, starts attacking Buffy. Buffy starts kicking her ass. And then Teresa's on top of Buffy and she goes, Angel sends his love. And then Buffy is like getting overpowered by Teresa. And then Xander comes up from behind and stabs Teresa in the back with an easel.
This thing that's holding up a sign has like the sharpest points on the bottom. I love it. Yeah. It was like made for everything in this morgue is like made for killing vampires.
So Teresa turns to dust. And then Buffy's like, God, Angel again, damn it. And then she stands up. Xander hugs her. He's like, hey, don't worry about it. Like, you'll get through this. Like, you can't keep feeling guilty about all of this. Like, all of this isn't your fault. And then they have the slow unfurling from the hug. And it looks like they're about to kiss. Mm-hmm. And then Buffy just turns away and walks away. And then Xander goes, wow, my life is getting complicated.
I love that line. I'm like, you have so much going on, dude.
Yeah.
You're holding the gay secret of Larry. You've got Cordelia. You
also harbor feelings for Willow.
Weird feelings for Willow. And then you are crushing hard on Buffy.
Yeah. For forever.
Yeah. And like, wow. Yeah, that moment I was like, man, he's got so much going on.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a great moment of self-awareness.
To a point where it's like, this is just going to be it's going to be awkward, but kind of fun. Like, if you had this many plates in the air. The one thing I wanted to say is that they keep telling Buffy that it's not her fault. And I'm going to go back to last episode when she opted to kick Angel in the balls instead of kill him.
Yeah, that's kind of on her.
That might have saved Teresa's life 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Now, you can't save everybody from every vampire, but every vampire you let go, it's your fault. Especially when he said, I'm going to kill people you know.
Yeah, I'm going to kill people closest to you. And earlier in the episode, he's like, you know Buffy, right?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you know Buffy? He's like, yeah, she and I go way back.
If she would have been like, no, I don't know Buffy at all. She's like, darn it.
Yeah, he's like, all right, you know what, go fuck off. I hope the werewolf gets you. So then we cut to Kane in his van, and he is staking out, getting prepared for werewolf stuff. He is making silver bullets to kill the werewolf, which is pretty cool. I enjoyed that scene where he's just alone, like, I'm gonna kill this guy.
I would have liked this more if he was a nuanced character, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If it was like, hey, he thinks he's doing the right thing by killing werewolves and taking them off the street, but werewolves are people. But this is a guys versus girls episode of TV. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier.
It's a battle.
It would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we go back to Oz, and he's at his house, and he has a box of chains.
He's got like shackles and stuff. I'm like, hey, the local hardware store just selling.
Yeah.
And he's taking his sweet ass time setting this up.
Because it is nightfall already at this point.
This is something you start doing at like 3:00.
Oh yeah.
Like you still have to put those things somewhere. You still have to like drill them into like time around a cement post or something. You know, he's not planning this out as well as he needs to.
So he's like really dilly-dallying with the chains, and he's like putting them around his wrist. He's like, this kind of hurts. And then he gets a knock at the door, and he looks like, what the hell now? Like, he's like, who is knocking at my door? I'm about to turn into a werewolf.
And is his parents just not around? Or parents just not around?
That's what I was about to say.
Because he's a senior, but he's not like a college student.
Well, Willow brings it up too. So she walks in. Who's knocking at the door is Willow. She's like, Buffy told me to be bold, and I want to make the first move, and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, and it's so weird that you're here alone in your house. Like, what are you doing here with chains? And like, I just want to get to know you better, and I wish you weren't so hot and cold. And he's like, Willow, you start to see him in the background start to like get the stomach ache of becoming a werewolf.
Which we've all had.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's like, Willow, you really should leave. And then that's when she notices the chains. And she's like, why you got a bunch of chains? And he's like, shut up. Get out of my house. And he starts stumbling. And she's like, what's going on, Oz? And then he falls to the ground behind a couch so that Willow can't see him. But then we
can't see everything either.
Yeah. Well, we kind of see like
parts.
His face starting to turn, then his hands starting to turn, and Willow's like, Oz, are you okay? And then she peers around the couch, and Oz jumps out full werewolf. And she starts screaming. She's a good screamer. She's a good scream queen.
She's good. I mean, there's stuff that she does that just really works. Like her reaction to things. Like she's good.
So he starts chasing her. He's chasing her through the neighborhood, like on a suburban street, just out in the open, running on the sidewalk.
And she's in like a polo or overall type outfit, which is really funny looking.
Yeah, she looks like such a child
with like a yellow shirt underneath of it.
Like I think the overalls are yellow.
Were the overalls yellow? And some
the overalls are yellow.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
So the werewolf's chasing her. She smacks it in the face with a trash can at a certain point.
I love that move.
Yeah. And Kane, off in the distance, hears Oz howl at the moon. And he's like, oh, that's where you are.
Isn't he cruising around the suburbs in a van?
I guess so.
Which I'm like, why are you doing that when you said it goes after like crowded places with people?
I don't know, man. Yeah. He's got echolocation too. Then we cut to Giles with a giant ass gun, and Buffy shows up and she's like, all right, let's go hunt this wolf. And I was like, damn, all right. It's going to be like that, huh? So Oz is still chasing Willow, and now they're in the forest, and she trips, typical horror movie stuff. And just as Oz is about to like start lurking over her, he sniffs the air, and he sniffs the air again, and he's like, and then he just runs the other direction.
I love that Willow wasn't like, what is that? And followed after him. She booked it.
Yep.
She got up and hopped over that log and hauled ass. Like
sprinted straight to the library.
Yeah. I was like, I love that. It wasn't like, what's going on? And she wasn't like, she didn't try to talk him down and be like, hey.
I know you're in there, Oz.
Yeah, I was expecting that. And I was like, all right, this generic scene.
Yeah.
But no, she said, fuck it, I'm out.
She books it. She runs to the library. She bursts through the door. She's screaming, it's Oz! It's Oz! And they're like, what's Oz? And like, the werewolf! And then they grab the giant gun. And I was like, oh man, they're gonna. And so Willow's like, well, please don't shoot him. Like, I still like Oz. And then Giles is like, don't worry, it's just a tranquilizer. And I was like, okay, whew.
It's got enough to take down an elephant, because we love talking about elephants in this episode.
Oh, absolutely, we do. So then we see Oz like sniffing, and he's slowly walking towards this trap that Kane has set where it's just raw meat. And then I don't understand what's going on here, because Kane has the werewolf in his sights. And he's like, all right, come on out, werewolf. Come out. Just a few steps closer. Just a few steps closer. Just enough time for Buffy to come and kick the gun out of his hand.
Are they next to the school?
Yeah, where is Makeout Point?
What?
Are they like, where's this forest?
This timing. He was smelling something and started walking away, right? And it's still in the same forest. So she has run out of this low forest area to the library, had a conversation, and then come back in the time it took for the werewolf to find what it was smelling.
Yeah.
Like, how fast are they?
Well, also, how did they know exactly where Kane and the werewolf were going to be? Like, that was insane.
I did love the jump kick, though.
Oh, yeah. Jump kick. Kicks the gun out of Kane's hand. Then they start, Buffy starts tussling with Werewolf Oz, and Giles has the gun. And he's like, I can't get a clear shot.
He's like, I've been shot before by Jenny Calendar. I'm not going to make the same mistake she did.
Exactly. So then eventually the werewolf like chucks Buffy off of him, and then Willow grabs the gun and shoots Oz. And Oz falls to the ground, and he is passed out at this point. And then Kane says something to Buffy about like, oh, maybe you're not as helpless as I thought you were.
No, it's like, oh, you guys can't kill anything. You guys are never going to be able to protect this town if you can't kill anything or whatever.
Yeah, and then Buffy grabs his gun, and she's like, yeah, well, you're not going to be in this town at all. And she bends it.
Yeah, like
she's like, I'll be just fine.
Bend, yeah.
And then Kane looks at it like, oh, shit. And she's like, you better get the hell out of here, guy, and never come back. And he's like, okie dokie, I will not be doing it. It's like, dude, you have to, is that your only gun?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, it's like, okay, she's strong. She's superhuman strength. Like, she can kill me. And also, this werewolf won't be a werewolf for the next. Like, he's not going to kill the werewolf and then try to fight Buffy after she just did that.
I guess that's true.
And then it's like, it's not going to be a werewolf for another 28 days or so. So, I don't know how he knows where the werewolf is. I don't understand why there's only one werewolf if the cousin's a werewolf too.
Oh, you think Kane's going to show up and kill Oz's cousin?
Like, I mean, I guess they keep that cousin locked in the basement during the full moons, probably, if the aunt knew he was a werewolf.
Fair.
And he's a kid werewolf, so, you know.
Okay.
Little baby werewolf.
So then we have Buffy and Xander. They have like a fun miscommunication about like, this is at school the next day. And they're like, well, I don't know how we're going to react around him. Like, now that we know his secret, and, you know, we're still just going to have to treat him like a regular human. Like, you know, he's a student just like us. And then Xander's like, yeah, I don't know if I can look him in the face anymore. And Buffy's like, I feel like we're going to have to just get over it and go on and life is normal. And then it's like, who are you talking about? She's like, I'm talking about Oz. Who are you talking about? And Xander's like, nobody. Nobody.
Yeah. Now they played a proper pronoun game.
Exactly. And now we see Larry in the background, like picking up a girl's books who had just dropped it.
Full character arc from the beginning. Full character arc.
So then he walks over to Xander and he goes, hey, Xander, I just want to say everything you told me was really helpful and I feel so much better about life. And you're really an awesome person, and I'm glad that you confided your secret with me. And he's like, yep. We said that we were going to keep that a secret forever, and you're never going to bring it up again, right? And Larry's like, yeah, of course. And then he like pats him on the back and walks away. And Buffy's like, what the hell was that about? And then Xander's like, I told you, stop pushing.
Buffy likes damaged goods. And Xander and Angel are damaged goods, man.
So then they have a sit and they have a chat about Oz. And Xander, very consistent. He's like, I don't think Oz should be dating Willow. He's going to turn into a werewolf. Like, that guy's no good. Just like Angel was no good for you. Let's see how good that turned out. Like, you want to fucking date a vampire? Willow's going to be dating a werewolf? Like, am I the only person that's dating a normal human being in this town anymore?
And they should have just cut to Cordelia just being something weird.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, Buffy's like, it's not about what you want, Xander. It's about what Willow wants.
Stupid guy.
You don't get it. The heart wants what it wants. So then we get Willow and Oz talking and kind of debriefing about everything. Like, hey, should I bring this up or should you bring it up? And basically Oz is like, I'm sorry that I am a werewolf and I almost killed you. And Willow's like, it's no big deal. And then Oz is like, I feel like I shouldn't be with you because you're going to be at risk if you're with me. And then she's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's only 3 days out of the month. And Oz is like, what? And she's like, yeah, I'm not so pleasant for 3 days out of the month, too.
I wrote that down, that she equates being a werewolf to having a period.
So they decide, you know what? We're still going to end up dating. It's all good. I'm cool with dating a werewolf. And then Willow's like, walks away. And then she walks back into frame, gives him the smoochies, and then she walks away, and then Oz gets the last line of the episode, and the last line of the episode is, would you look at that? A werewolf in love. And that's it.
That last line is so insane.
Right?
Like, I don't even know. I don't even know. It's just insane. I don't know. I don't know a better way to end it.
I mean, either.
It's on par with how Oz talks.
Yep.
But it's so silly.
It was crazy.
And it's just him, like, basically saying it to camera.
Yeah, kind of like if he would have like looked into the camera and winked at the, and then like a circle closed. That's all, folks.
A werewolf in love. You ever see that? You haven't. This is Buffy. We'll do anything.
And that's that for Phases. I enjoyed it. I liked a lot of the twists and turns that went down.
Dude, they're throwing out some game-changing stuff, man.
Yeah. Nobody is nobody in this show. Like, it's crazy.
Like, this Larry secret can just keep popping up and being like, it's fun watching Xander, like, dance around it. And it's great seeing Larry just embrace it and be like, really?
It's like a nice guy now.
Yeah. And just, like, being friendly with Xander. Xander can't take it. And he also thinks Xander's gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we still have like kind of like love, like this Buffy love for Xander that keeps like creeping up.
Yeah, they keep having these moments where it's like,
yeah,
and then nothing happens. And it's like, what is happening here? Like,
it's good. Yeah, that is good, fun TV drama, I think.
Yeah,
and then you still got Angel running around. You still got Spike and Drusilla out there. It's fun.
I wonder if they'll sick Oz on people, like utilize his werewolf.
You're definitely going to have a werewolf vampire fight. It's no way. Like, we already teased it with them yelling at each other or like snarling at each other.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it's going to look so silly.
Yeah, it's going to be so silly.
Yeah.
And that's that for Phases. So thanks for listening, everybody. We got the next episode. Here we go. Ready for our predictions, Vance?
Yeah, I did not see the thumbnail for this one.
I saw it. It doesn't reveal anything. But the title of it is Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered.
Maybe I did see a little bit of thumbnail. Was it Jenny Calendar?
Yeah, the thumbnail was Jenny Calendar.
Okay. I think we're going to have... I think it's going to be her and Giles reconciliation or something.
I think it's going to be her researching how to recurse Angel. And it's I agree with you. There's going to be some friction with Giles, and she's like, no, I'm trying to help. And then eventually, like, I feel like she's trying to help. Giles is not so quick to forgive. Buffy's not so quick to forgive, but she's trying to like get back on their good side.
There's no reason to be mad at her. That's the thing I would like to bring up. There's no reason to be upset with Jenny Calendar. She did nothing wrong.
All right. That's that. Thanks for listening, everybody. Subscribe and rate and review. Follow the Instagram page. We got it's at Boys Watching Buffy. Vance puts up some real funny memes about Buffy and everything. And you know, the Instagram page, the actress who plays Drusilla, she likes some of our posts.
Yeah, she's active on IG.
So, I mean, if it's good enough for her, it should be good enough for everybody listening, you know?
Yeah, if Juliet Landau likes it.
Yeah, so follow us. Give us a follow. Give us a rate and review. If you want to write in, it's boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. We always appreciate those emails and DMs and giving us some context or some stuff that we might have missed. So keep those coming. I really appreciate that. And yeah, stay tuned for our next episode when we talk about Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered.
Oh, moon pie.
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.